Okay, YouTube, welcome back to another video where I am going to break down everything I've learned over the last 9 years of training. Started training at 17 to get better at football, to get bigger, to get stronger, to then look better on a lad's holiday, which definitely happened. Didn't help me in that situation, but I'm going to talk you through everything. Now, there's so much information out there, science-based, not science-based, anecdotal, so much information. I'm just going to tell you what I have found has worked. And in reality, there's only really 5 pillars that you need to make sure you do well at in order to achieve the physique that you want and to look the way you want to look. So, first of all, as I spoke about, the hard truth, you need to stop overcomplicating it. Okay, you don't need to be new exercises every week. You don't need to be doing different training protocols, different nutrition protocols, taking peptides. Don't worry, the basics will work. Stop copying others as well. You'll see so many people on like Instagram and they're doing this mad session. You're like, oh, why do I need to do what they're doing? No, you don't. You just simply need to nail these basics I'm about to walk you through, doing it consistently for a long period of time, 9 years with me, and you will get to where you want to get to. And also, with all of that, just be consistent, okay? Find what you enjoy, stick to it for a long period of time, and believe me, you will make progress. So, nice and simple. Now, we're going to start off with, first thing, more is not better with your training. All you need to really be doing is following a system like this with your training program. Okay, so you're entering the gym, you're going to do some warming up, some mobility, some prep work, depending on the session or the main lift of that session. So let's say, for example, we've got a squat pattern. My prep mobility will be maybe 10 minutes on the bike. Then I may look to do some lower body activation, maybe some hip work, and then maybe even something light like a goblet squat, just to get that pattern sort of neurologically ready and set. Then you're going to do your main lift. Could be a squat pattern on one of the days, some form of a hinge on day 2, and then some form of a bench press or a chest press on day 3. They're your 3 main movers, and then you're going to look to follow after that some accessory work. In those main lifts, I'll be doing 2 to 3 working sets of between 6 and 10 reps, depending on what your goal is. Nice and simple. Okay, rest as long as you need to in between to ensure that you're able to give high amounts of intensity. Then you're going to do 2 accessory movements after, which basically, if you've just done a squat pattern, that's your lower body covered. Okay, so the accessory movements may be something along the lines of a push and a pull. Okay, if you've done a bench press, for example, then your accessory movements might be some form of a lower body push and a lower body pull, so a hamstring and a quad exercise. Off the back of that, you're then going to do some isolation movements. This is where we look to be a little bit more specific with developing our physique. So it might be like the bicep curls, lateral raises, leg extensions, calf raises, that sort of stuff. Core work as well can work really nicely. And then we're going to finish off with some conditioning. Okay, 15 minutes, because ultimately that's going to give us the best bang for our buck. Because we're only in the gym 3 times a week, we can add that little bit on at the end, recover in between each session. And we've ticked every single box: strength, hypertrophy, and conditioning. So everything has been covered in an hour session. Nice and simple. Okay, so 3 full body sessions per week. Why 3 body and why 3 times? Maximum frequency, we train each muscle group 3 times or twice a week at least. It's going to give us enough time to recover in between each session, and something we can sustain to when things are quite busy. If you're trying to train 6 days a week, unless you are a full-time trainer or you're in charge of your days from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, it's just not going to be sustainable when things get busy. 3 times a week, more than enough. You can do it every single week, every month of the year. Perfect. And if you have to miss 1 session, do 2, you've still covered each muscle group in that week twice. So for me, full body 3 times a week is always your best bet. The next thing you want to be nailing is trying to stay in a lean gain for as long as possible. Okay, stop with the bulking then the cut, bulk then cut, up down. It's not going to happen. Okay, the main reason why I believe I've got the foundations and the physique that I have now is because when I first started off, I spent at least 4 years after I did a dieting phase for Zanti, but then I went into a gain phase for 4 years where I prioritized getting strong, building muscle, and not being worried about being lean all year round. Okay, because if you're going to be lean all year round, especially if you're just starting off, chances are your physique's not going to change. Okay, you need to spend time to build muscle. Dropping body fat can be done quicker than building muscle. Building muscle takes 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 months. Okay, dropping body fat you can do 2 to 3, 4 months depending on where your body fat levels are. But make sure you stay in some form of a lean surplus. So we're looking at around about 250 to 300 calories to help support our training, our performance, and therefore allow us to build muscle and give ourselves a really good foundation. Now, when we talk about lean gaining and traditional bulking, what are the differences? So a traditional bulk is eat as much food as you can, 500 calorie surplus, eating all sorts of types of food, just trying to get as many calories in as possible. And okay, for very, very small amount of people, that might be necessary. However, for large portions of people, if you do that, you put on weight quick, but the weight you've put on is going to be body fat, water. Your skin's not going to be great. You're going to feel pretty rubbish. You're going to be tired all the time. And I can tell you this because I did that, okay? And that's not what you want to be doing. But in your head, oh, more weight is better. No. Instead, 250, 300 calorie surplus, nice, slow and steady, which keeps minimal fat gain. It's going to be able to sustain this for long periods of time. And we're going to mainly focus on whole foods to help with digestion and satiety, okay, rather than eating everything and anything. Because yes, calories in, calories out, but the calories you consume are just as important. So that's what we want to be thinking about. It's going to give us a long time to build muscle, stay relatively lean, and not be in that sort of vicious cycle of bulking and cutting, because that's just going to slow down your progress. The next thing you want to be focusing on is your recovery. Okay, this is your biggest performance tool. A podcast with Matt Fraser, who 5-time CrossFit champ, 6-time CrossFit champ, 5-time. I want to say 5 times. He said if sleep was a drug, it would be a banned substance. It's that powerful. So why we don't prioritize this, I have no idea. Okay, I've always been pretty decent with my sleep, but over the last few years, really made sure to nail it. Okay, no phone 30 minutes before bed. That goes away. I'll read a book. I'll put blue light blocking glasses on. And I'm just looking to get into the best rest and digest state as possible. I make sure that I've got a dark and cool room, so I have blackout blinds, and then luckily where I am at the moment, I have air conditioning, so I can set the room temperature to about 18, 19 degrees, which is about the sweet spot. But if you're in the UK or don't have access to air conditioning, leave a window open for a little bit in the evening time. That might allow your room to be a little bit cooler. The other thing is trying to go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time each day. Okay, this is going to help what we call our circadian rhythm, which is our body's natural body clock. Okay, so if we can go to bed at 10 a.m., wake up at 6 a.m., our body will naturally know when it is time to get ready to go to sleep and when it is time to best wake up. Rather than relying on an alarm or anything else, we can naturally start waking up at the right time. So make sure you nail your recovery as much as possible, because inevitably, most people think we're growing muscle in the gym. That's not accurate to an extent. You're actually going to be building that new muscle tissue in the recovery process, and that is going to start with your sleep. The other thing I would be focusing on is not worrying about what other people are doing. I always used to, when I was younger, especially like 19, 20, it used to be like, okay, right, what are other people my age looking like? I need to look bigger. Oh, what are people who are years ahead of me? Oh, that's what I'm going to look like. Oh, mate, need to make sure I do this, this, and this. And I remember following someone's training program, and I remember following it for about 3 months. And I thought, why do my shoulders not look like his? I'm doing his routine, but why do my shoulders not look like Ryan Terry? Now, for those of you who know Ryan Terry, he is a Mr. Olympia bodybuilder, professional, and one of the best in the world. Well, in his category. So no wonder my shoulders didn't look like him. But you need to just think, comparison is the thief of joy. However, compare yourself to yourself. How were you looking when you started compared to now? So if you've been on a process for 6 months, are you now better off than you were 6 months ago? Hopefully the answer is yes. If it's not yes, then you may need to change a few things. So for me, it's a case of, are you getting stronger in the gym? Are you looking better in the mirror? Are you feeling better in yourself? And are you making sure you are showing up consistently week in, week out? Or do you know you've been skipping a couple of sessions, a couple of weekends, going out, having a few beers and da-da-da-da? Okay, that's the only thing you need to do. Not worry about what other people are doing. You're on your own journey and we're all doing different things. The final thing I would highly recommend is always having a goal to work towards, okay? Because I believe I work best not only with my training, but just general life and just life in general. When I have something to work towards, that's been photo shoots, that might be holidays, for me, triathlons, Ironmans, ultra marathons. I need something to work towards so I can see progress. Otherwise, I just go through the motions and just things become a little bit monotonous. So we want to make sure we have a clear goal. Now, what makes a good goal? This could be hitting a certain number. We're doing a lift. It could be hitting a certain time in a high rock session. It could be a target body weight. It could be trying to look your best for a holiday, feel your best at a wedding. Whatever it may be, set a date, reverse engineer so you know what you need to do each week, each month to hit that goal. So definitely find something that you know you can stick to, and also something that you can work towards, that when you do achieve it, it's a sense of achievement, and it's been a good goal, and then on to the next. So 5 things that you need to just focus on, the key pillars that I believe, after training for 9 years, are what's going to set you up for success. 3 full body training sessions, structured as I just mentioned, staying in a lean gaining phase, so not trying to eat everything and anything, just a small little surplus, help with your performance in the gym and help obviously allow you to get stronger, build muscle, look better. Prioritize your recovery, make sure your sleep is a non-negotiable, okay? Really do focus on that, with 8 hours of sleep per night, similar time to go to bed, same time to wake up. Don't compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to yourself. And if things aren't progressing, look into why, and make sure that at the end of the day, you've got a clear goal so you know exactly what you're working towards. And that is going to allow you to stay driven when motivation begins to fade, because it will do. Now, that is simple, consistent, effective. And that's what it's all about for me. I've tried different body part splits. I've done 2 days sessions. I used to do chest and shoulders, back and hamstrings, quads and arms. That's 3 days. I used that 6 times. So 12 sessions in the gym. Waste of time, I found personally. And that's because the program I was following was from someone who was on a lot of enhancements. Let's leave it at that. So that is where we are. Now, next steps and ready to take action. I've got a free body composition calculator. There's a link in the description. Now, we went back to that nutrition. You might be thinking, how do I know my calories? What do I need to do? What meals should I have? If you go to the link in the description, it will show you exactly how many calories you need to maintain where you're at based on your age, your height, and your job. And then it will also give you the option in order to see how many calories you need to build muscle, lose body fat, and achieve the goals that you've set. So if you want to use that, the link's in the description. Follow me on Instagram, jack_craddock_training, posting pretty much 2-3 times a day, giving as much value and showing everything. And I do walk the walk. But if we've enjoyed this video as well, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.